Hello, I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is the Politics Free Podcast,
where you can come for a short time each week to get away from the madness of the world,
while we carry on as though nothing important or noteworthy is happening.
So join us for some conversation,
some silliness,
and a game,
while we attempt to put you in a better mood by the end of the episode than you're in right now.
Welcome to our bubble.
Welcome to our bubble. Ryan.
Yes.
I learned a few things this week.
Did you?
I did, and I'd like to share them with you.
Well, I would like to hear them. Heather, tell me all about it.
First of all, we got our very first correction. Somebody set us straight.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I like it.
Good, because here's the deal. And I just realized I was going to figure out which episode this was that we have already released. But I can't remember the episode. But in one of our early episodes in season 1, you talked about the Hanson CD, how you tried to pawn it off on a younger kid.
Yes.
Within that story, you had sort of in passing said that you thought that was the only Hanson album that there was. They apparently have many, many albums. They have been touring for like 25 years.
Oh, my.
And they, I guess, relatively recently released their own beer, and it's called Hops.
No, they did not.
This information is according to our friend Cora, who is a Hanson fan.
Let's see. Here's Hanson. Hanson has how many albums? Oh, my gosh. They have a Christmas album. Holy mackerel. They have quite a few albums. Well then, I stand corrected.
Yes, you do. I think you should sing the I'm Wrong song as an apology.
I already forget how that song goes. Do I just make up my own lyrics?
And I'll do it for you. I will sing it for you, and you'll need to try to learn it, because if one of us is wrong about something, we have to sing the I'm Wrong song. I just decided.
Okay.
It goes like this. I'm wrong, I'm really, really wrong. I'm the wrongest person in the whole wide world. I'm not right. I'm wrong, yes, I'm wrong, that's right. I'll try not to say another stupid word. W-R-N-G, no, I'm wrong.
Heather, you're going to have to write an outline for that so that I can learn it, because that is far too much for me to remember at this moment in time.
All right, I won't worry about that now, but I have a duet planned for us, actually, regarding the I'm Wrong song. I was thinking about it earlier today. So
I love it.
Thank you for setting us straight, Cora, and I'm sorry that we thought you only had one album, Hanson. I still think Mbop's a freaking awesome song.
Hey, I still listen to it every now and again.
Yeah, same. They have actually up on YouTube, there's a video of them doing an unplugged version of that, which I really enjoy. You should check it out.
Like back in the day, or?
No, just recently. I mean, it was within the last couple of years, I think.
Huh.
It was good stuff. It was one of those, you know how random YouTube recommendations are?
Yeah.
It's like, we think you'd like this video of a duck falling off of a cliff and saving the life of a hippopotamus while doing so. I'm like, I didn't even know that existed, but YouTube showed it to me. It's amazing. All right. The other thing that I learned is from episode 9, when we played Mad Gab.
Yes.
And we could not figure out O Fork Aim Bury Hearse. If you've listened to episode 9, you'll know what we're talking about. And hey, if you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to episode 9 and come on back. O Fork Aim Bury Hearse overcame barriers. Spoiler alert, FYI.
Oh!
We could not figure out what that was, right? And you want to know why?
Why?
Because we decided that the word bury was pronounced bury for reasons I cannot explain. We were saying bury, because if you say, O Fork Aim Bury Hearse,
Well, how was it
instead of
spelled?
Bury Hearse, O-O-W-E, fork, F-O-R-K, aim, A-I-M, bury, B-U-R-Y, hearse, H-E-A-R-S-E. Now that I've spelled every word, I realize that what you wanted was the spelling of bury/berry.
Okay, but that is such an oversight on the makers of that game. I'll tell you what, because bury and berry depends on the location you are in the U.S., isn't it? I mean, it's like saying root and route.
If we just go straight to Google pronounce...
Berry. Berry. Berry.
Can you hear it?
Yes, I can hear it. Google said berry. And Google's wrong.
At any rate, one other thing I want to mention before we get going here is that we kept referring to our non-existent listener base throughout episode 1, and that's because we recorded all of those episodes before the podcast actually launched, and we technically did not have any listeners when we recorded them. And as I was editing episode 9, I realized, well, that's just insulting because we actually do have people listening to the podcast now. So
way to go, Heather.
I'm sorry that I called you guys all non-existent. We love you.
Yeah.
As we say in my family, mwah.
Yeah, mwah. And thank you to all my friends who have been listening. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, it's all my friends too. It's just our friends. But still, they're people that are listening, and I'm sorry that I called my friends non-existent. So, Ryan, it is time for the topic of the week.
Excellent.
I will now read from The Complete Book of Bicycling by Eugene A. Sloan, copyright 1972. Let us open our page to Chapter 2, Practical Tips for Bicycling Safety. Always ride on city streets where car parking is allowed and, in fact, where cars are parked.
So, like, right on the parking spots?
Yeah, where cars are actually parked. Here's this is what I found silly. She's like, so don't ride where parking's not allowed, but if you ride where parking is allowed, make sure there are actually cars parked there. Now, he gives a logical reason for this, but the very next rule is, watch out for car doors opening ahead of you when riding on streets with parked cars. Discourteous drivers have whipped in ahead of me, parked their cars, and opened the door on the driver's side all in one motion, forcing me to veer out into the stream of traffic to avoid running into them. Let's give pause for a moment. And I want to tell you a little story.
Okay.
It's very cold here in the winter. Lots of snow, lots of ice. And my driveway is steep. If I come down the road and take a left or a right turn into my driveway, I sometimes get stuck in the snow or the ice in the driveway. But because our house is on a T-junction and actually faces an oncoming street, I do have the option to drive from that street straight up my driveway and not get stuck. But sometimes when there's tons of snow, the snow drifts are so high, I have no way of knowing if there's any traffic coming. I have literally no way. It's just Russian roulette, like, let's hope nobody's coming as I drive straight up my driveway.
You need to set up a mirror.
Okay, we'll get to that, but I want to point something out. I was in a massive quandary. I was like, blind drive, get stuck turning, blind drive, get stuck turning, and then suddenly I was like, wait a minute, what is the debate here? Clearly, getting stuck in my driveway is a far better option than being blindsided by a speeding car that neither one of us knew the other one was there.
That's true.
Okay, so I'm going to bring you back to what he said here. Forcing me to veer out into the stream of traffic to avoid running into them, to avoid running into an open car door. Take the door, man. Just run into the door.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be less hurt than if you're like, I don't want to hit the door. I better veer out into moving traffic. I feel like that's bad advice there, dude.
I agree. What year did you say this was?
1972. I guess cars were a lot slower then.
Yes.
Okay, now, beware of the Sunday driver. So the fact that this idea we have that older drivers cause more accidents is actually a myth. According to the AAA Foundation, the biggest age bracket of accident havers and causers in automobiles is the 16, 17-year-old bracket.
Makes sense. I mean, I did get rear-ended by an 18-year-old who literally had just gotten her license a few months earlier. I mean, they're new drivers, so they're less experienced.
That's true. That's very true. I think that's probably a large part of that.
Which is probably why younger drivers cost more to insure.
I would imagine, especially teenage boys, I think, have the highest insurance rates.
You shut your mouth.
Are you a teenage boy?
I was a teenage boy.
Fine.
Dude, Heather, I got in so many accidents when I first got licensed.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
It was almost impossible to find anybody who would insure me.
Ryan, I have never felt more unsafe than when you were driving me in a car on a highway one time.
When have I ever driven you in a car on a highway?
You picked me up from the airport.
Uh-huh.
And you were driving me wherever I was going to stay. I don't know if that was your house or mom and dad's house or whatever. And this was, I don't know, early 2000s. Early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. We almost hit like 3 other cars. You were speeding so fast, but you had no real control over the car. And it's like on the 4th time that we almost collided with someone, I suddenly was just like, pull the fuck over, pull over. Get out of the car. I am driving.
I do not remember this at all.
You felt so bad. You were like really mopey. You got out. You gave me the keys. You're like, well, whatever.
I feel like you're exaggerating. And that's probably why I took it so personally that you freaked out on me. Which I don't remember, by the way. I have no recollection of this at all.
Okay. I seem to recall that the car you picked me up in had doors that would neither close nor open. Because they wouldn't close, so you had to tie them closed with a rope. So I had to climb through the window to get into your car.
Okay, so first of all, the car that you're speaking of, I believe was the Plymouth. Was it just the 2-door sedan? Was the giant boat?
I don't remember. I just remember I remember it being a smaller white car.
I've never had a smaller white car. Yeah, no, I've never had to tie my doors shut. However, I did have a car that I could not get to open. So I had to climb in and out of the window. And it was just the one door, which was the driver's side door.
So you couldn't just open the passenger side door and get in that way? You'd climb through the...
And climb over everything? God, no, Heather. I had to climb in through the window. The only time I'd use that side is when I had to close the window when it was raining.
Because nobody would ever try to steal that car? Is that it? You could just leave the window open all the time? Like, no one's taking it.
Pretty much.
Imagine I arrive and you pick me up in this car that I had to shove my suitcase through the window, climb through the window, then be driven very erratically to the point of near death by shock.
Oh, and you know what? You know what I take very personally, Heather, is that you said that I was driving so fast that I had no control over the car. I have never in my life driven like that. You make me sound insanely dangerous.
I can't believe you don't remember this. I am not making this story up.
No, you're exaggerating.
I love you.
100% you're exaggerating. I think it's just because here's the thing. Anytime you get into a car, not you specifically, but people in general, anytime people get into a car with a new driver, there is a certain amount of uncomfortableness because you don't know how this person drives. And if they do something that's like a little slightly like that makes you, you're going to start picking apart their driving. So here, I had probably never driven you before, and you already look at me like I'm your younger brother that's crazy and annoying, that you just automatically were picking apart my driving to begin with. So I think you blew it out of proportion in your own head. End of story. Period.
Fine, because I want to get back to my riveting book about bicycling. What? It's not that interesting. Should we stop? Should we go on to the next segment?
We should stop at the bicycle book.
I thought it was hilarious when I was reading it because he's like, this guy just goes on these rolls like about how drivers are just like out to get cyclists.
There was two things that I wanted to say. The first thing about bicycling, as a bicyclist, I absolutely hate drivers. And as a driver, I absolutely hate bicyclists. It's
a mutual feeling. It is, really is.
Yes. And the other thing I was going to say is the car that I just bought it's a hybrid car. So I have to charge it, but it has this little gauge on the dashboard, and it's basically like got this green dot in the middle. And if you accelerate too much, the green dot will go towards the top of the screen, and if you brake too hard, it will drop down to the bottom. So the goal is to keep that green dot steady right in the middle of this little pictorial graph thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's the ideal place for you to conserve as much battery as possible. So if you're accelerating too hard, you're actually draining your battery. And if you brake too hard, you're draining your battery faster. So once I discovered this on the vehicle, I've actually started paying attention to keeping it right there centered. And let me tell you what, Heather, it is changing my driving habits.
Nice.
I will come pulling into a Kroger store, listening to Tool, rocking out to Tool, but driving like Grandpa. And so I was doing a test this morning. The ideal speed on the freeway for this thing is 50 miles per hour. That's the ideal speed. And so I was like, I'm going to leave early today. And I'm going to drive 50 miles per hour the entire way to work. And I did. And I was probably the most annoying person on the freeway. It was ridiculous. I couldn't do it. On the way back, I had to go. I was going the speed of traffic. So I was going like 55 to 60. But for some reason, I actually used less energy coming back home than I did going to work.
Well, that sounds like a real fancy little invention for a car. I wish I kind of had that. I think Mike wishes that was on our car for me. Just to cap off the book of bicycling by Eugene A. Sloan, there is tons of very good advice in that book, and I don't mean to make fun of that guy or his book. I just thought he just really, you could tell how much he hated drivers in that book. And it was funny to me, but when I read it out loud on the podcast, apparently totally uninteresting. Ryan hated it. Whatever. Let's go on, because you know what, Ryan? It is time for Podcast Gamers. We are going to play a game called Just a Minute. This is how it works. One of us gives the other one a topic that we have selected. I'm willing to bet you did not select any topics for me ahead of time. Am I right?
I have one in my head.
Excellent. The player is given a topic, and he must or she must speak on the topic for 1 solid minute, regardless of how much knowledge he or she may or may not have on said topic. It's gonna be a gas.
I'm gonna give you a topic first. You ready?
All right, hold on. Let me get the timer ready. And the topic is?
Quantum physics.
Let the minute begin. Quantum physics is a very interesting topic, filled with many, many symbols and mathematics. One of the laws of quantum physics is that an item falling will reverse its fall if it reaches the speed of 427.3769854 seconds per second per second. This has never been achieved in actuality because it is a tenet of theoretical quantum physics. Also in quantum physics, probably, is string theory. What is string theory? Well, You take a bunch of string of different lengths and you braid it together. And once you've braided it together, you braid it with other braided strings. Time! Killed it. Nailed it.
Very nice.
I am a quantum physicist. Ooh, I just leaned forward like I was rapping into a mic. I am a quantum physicist. You will ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. I did not have a rhyme worked out. Ryan, are you ready for your first topic?
I am ready.
Please tell us for 1 minute about St. Swithin's Day. St. Swithin's Day. Begin.
St. Swithin's Day?
Your minute started, man. Don't cheat by being silent.
No, I'm trying to understand what you just said because my microphone is very low. Swithin's?
St. Swithin's. Swithuns Day. St. Swithin's Day.
St. Swithin's Day.
Yes.
Okay.
On your mark, get set, go.
So St. Swithin's Day is the day that we celebrate all the butlers out there because Smithers is what Swithin's was derived from. So Smithers is a butler, a very well-known butler name that, pretty much any butler in the world, his name is Smithers. So it's just the day that we get together, we dress in our tuxedos, we hold our platters, and we wear our little top hats, and we just pretend to be butlers for the day and celebrate the Smithers on St. Swithin's Day because they are saints. They are saints.
The butlers?
St. Smithers Day. Swithin's Day. St. Swithin Smithers Day. Is the minute up yet?
No! And I think
God,
you lost
what else
that
can
round.
I say? And we shine our shoes and we answer the phones and do all the things that butlers do.
Minute's up. Listen.
Thank God.
You were eating up like the last 20 seconds of your minute just saying Swithins, Smithers, Swithins, Smithers. Now, just in case anybody listening is wondering what St. Swithin's Day actually is, I don't know. What's the next topic?
The next topic is cooking.
Cooking. That's so unexciting. And timer. Let me tell you about cooking. There are many different styles of cooking. There's frying, there's baking, there's sautéing, there's wok-a-doing. When you cook it in a wok, it's called wok-a-doing. Wok-a-doing. There are many things you can cook, fruits, which I prefer not to do, like pineapple on pizza. Nobody likes that. So
that's incorrect.
Don't cook a fruit. Okay. If you like pineapple on pizza, I don't know how this podcast continues, but I have to do a minute on cooking, so wait a second. Baking, arguably, is also part of cooking, although some people might separate the two and say that a chef cooks while a baker bakes. One of the things that you can do is fillet a fish. You do this by ripping out its tail and guts, and then chopping off its head. Time.
Well done, Heather.
Thank you.
Pineapple on pizza is fantastic.
You're adopted. You're officially adopted. Pineapple on pizza.
I'm not the one that came from the zoo, Heather. That's you.
Okay, that's both of us. It's both of us.
Nope, just you.
How can you say it's just me? It's both of us. We were both from the zoo. We were switched out for the orangutans, babies.
Oh, so you admit that you are also adopted.
Okay,
Thank
this
you.
argument has gone off the rails. I'm just trying to point out that pineapple on pizza is the most It's not even that it's pineapple on pizza, it's that the pineapple is warm. They cook it on the pizza. I think that's what I find most offensive about that whole situation.
Do you not like sweet and salty?
I do if it's like a payday. Like caramel, salted caramel. Yeah, sweet and salty is good, but not hot pineapple. I can't get past the hot pineapple.
Then you eat it cold. Just eat cold pineapple on pizza. It's like putting fresh tomato on a pizza after it's been cooked.
I'm imagining that in my mind. And no. Okay, now I'll backtrack. I might actually try that one day. I would try that. But having tried hot pineapple on pizza, I'm out. I can't do it. Ryan.
Yes.
For 1 minute, will you please speak on the topic of globe making?
Globe making. Okay.
Begin.
So, before we begin globe making, you have to heat up sand. Sand to its molten point of melting. And then you take a big pipe and you dip it into your molten sand, which has now become glass. And what you do is you have to spin your pipe. You have to keep it nice and even while you're simultaneously blowing into the pipe, and you start to blow this nice glass globe. And you want to add color in there. So what you'll do is while you're melting your sand, you'll just put like a couple drops of like iron or cobalt or other things that will color the glass, and then you can make swirls and whatnot. But anyway, back to blowing. So you blow it, and then you have like these little pincher things that you kind of like have to.
Ryan.
Yes.
I think you know full well that I meant globe making. What is a globe to you? You just did glass blowing. You did glass blowing for a minute.
Heather, a globe is any round object.
Yes, but you knew that I meant a globe of the world. You know what? Google.
A globe, a glass globe, Heather. Oh, my knee. A glass globe.
Define globe. The Earth, definition number 1.
Definition number 2, a spherical or rounded object.
Nobody cares about definition number 2.
I do, because that's what I talked about. I talked about globe making.
I'm a little bit flabbergasted that there's no definition that is a round model of the Earth, because that's how it is used the most. You've got to admit, if somebody says to you, can you go buy me a globe? You're going to get a map of the world globe, right? That's the first thing you're going to think of.
Nope. I'm going to think of a glass globe, and I'm going to go out and get one of those snowy globes. A snow globe. I'm going to go buy them a snow globe.
Well, that is what somebody who only has a GED would say.
Wow, Heather. I don't only have a GED. I do also have a high school diploma, Heather. And I'll have you know, I'm in college.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's good. It's good that you're getting higher learning. Ah, good stuff. Okay.
So messed up.
Hit me with your best shot, buddy.
Okay, I want you to tell me about hedge funds.
God. Start of minute. It's very important that everybody understands what a hedge fund is. Now, you probably all have a bank account with a bank or a credit union. And what you do is you create an additional account. It's not your checking. It's not your savings. It's your hedge account. Because everybody needs nice hedges. You don't want to prune them yourself all the time. You want to hire somebody to do it for you. So you set aside money every week. Like 1.5% of your paycheck into your hedge fund. And then, after several years, you can get somebody else to prune your hedges for you so you don't have to do it. And the most recommended hedge formation is the Shining Hotel hedge formations. If I could have remembered the name of that, that's the time.
Heather, you knew full well that I meant financial hedge funds, Heather.
I know, but then I would have to admit that I don't know what hedge fund means, okay? I don't know what that is.
You just admitted that she didn't know what it means.
Yeah, but I didn't... Well, Ryan, that brings us to the end of Podcast Gamers.
Excellent.
And now we're going to leave our listeners with just a little bit of advice to take into the week with them. And I want to give you this advice. And this actually worked somewhat well for me, because sometimes when you're a woman on social media, you get like chat requests from men, and you know what they want, but you are not interested in how many of these requests come in repeatedly all the time. So what you do, you can change your marital status to overweight. Until next time.
Until next time. Chowsers! Pineapple on pizza is fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like you're like the only guy that wants the...
Heather. We'll save it for another time.
No, I want to talk about it right the F now.
It's not that segment, Heather.